Hello, welcome to this week's Climate Dispatch. Johanna Miller, Vermont Natural Resources Council, joined as always by my colleague Dan Fingus, Vermont Conservation Voters. And today we're lucky to be joined by Senator Andy Perchlik. He's senator from Washington County and represents a couple other really adorable communities.
Yeah.
Senator Perchlik is the chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee and also sits on Senate Transportation. As you very well may know, Senator Perchlik has been a very long time supporter of climate action, clean energy, moving Vermonters off of high cost and price volatile fossil fuels. He's a really strong partner and ally. And in this moment, as Vermonters are struggling to pay increased energy bills, this work is more important than ever. Senator, you've been taking up some electric vehicle and other important issues in Senate transportation. Just wondering if you can provide us an update on what you're doing in Senate transportation relating to getting people into more cost-effective vehicles. And then also, we've been keeping people abreast of the greenhouse gas emissions reporting program. We know that's really important for us when it's a baseline for good information, for good planning and potential public policy related to climate. So if you can give us an update on where those things stand, that'd be great.
Yeah, let's start with transportation first. We are working on the transportation bill in the Senate committee, and where I'm going right after this. We are looking at all revenue sources. The main thing is about the transportation fund and the structural deficit there, but there's still an emphasis on electric vehicles and how we move to an electric transportation future with cars and other modes of transportation. But one thing that we're adding to the T-bill that the House didn't have is about the right to charge, and specifically those that are living in condos or homeowners associations where the rules of the condo association don't allow you to have a charge or install your own charging equipment. Well, I had a constituent in the Washington district that had an electric vehicle, lived in a condo, but they wouldn't let her charge her car in her driveway, her own driveway. So this bill would make it clear that a condo association can't prevent somebody from charging their own car if they're buying their own equipment, paying for their own electricity. So these are things that we're just trying to make it a little easier for folks to charge. We're going to talk about other language about charging stations and trying to make it easier for consumers just to be able to drive in and pay for their electricity as easy as it is to drive into a gas station. And some other policies like that we can move. We still do have some money for charging equipment, both federal money for high-speed chargers that we're encouraging the V-Trans to get out and deployed. And then we also still have money for charging at multifamily housing and businesses so that we just further build out the charging infrastructure so people don't have that concern that there's not enough chargers in Vermont and that there's a lot of electric vehicles in Quebec. We want folks that come down here to feel like they can drive down here with their electric car and get charging. So it's something we're continuing to work on. We're also working on public transportation, which is having a funding problem, and also medical transports for people low-income Vermonters that don't have a way to get to medical appointments. Those programs are being cut by the federal government. So we're working on several fronts on how to improve our electric vehicles so we can get off these fossil fuels that, as you said, are very volatile. When you have any kind of disruption, even though the U.S. produces a lot of oil, we're still connected to that global market price, and it's really hurting Vermonters at this point.
And on the greenhouse gas emissions reporting program, we know that you just got the budget from the House. Really challenging fiscal times. We're not unaware of that, but curious if that might be something that your committee will dig into and where you think that
might land. It's definitely a priority of mine and other members on the Appropriations Committee. So it's definitely something we're going to talk. The bill itself is in Senate Natural Resources and Energy. I forget the bill number. I don't know if you remember.
740.
Yeah, so that bill's in the Energy Committee, so they'll pass it out, and then we'll work to find that funding in the budget to allow the Agency of Natural Resources to collect that data, so we have better data about the market and how fuel is being used by Vermonters. Because it's just like with gasoline, the heating oil and propane is causing a lot of economic pain to Vermonters, and we have local options that we could take advantage of. This is something that was my first job in Vermont, was working on fuel assistance and weatherization for low-income Vermonters. And at that time, we were talking about how are we going to increase weatherization? How are we going to disconnect Vermonters from this problem that when there's a problem global in the global oil market, that fuel can go up $2 a gallon overnight, and they just can't afford to heat their homes anymore. So it's something that we've been working on for 30 years. We've made some progress, but we have a long ways to go, and really trying to work on how we can encourage local renewable energy options for home heating.
Well, thank you so much, Senator. Leadership in the Transportation Committee, leadership in the Appropriations Committee, just overall leadership, and being our senator.
Yeah.
You know, you're really doing a good job, and we appreciate all the work.
Well, thank you. You guys at being our CRS have done a great job. So
thank you. We are 1 week away from the Changemakers Summit. This is the summit where folks who are activists and advocates can come together, skill build, and hear from some great speakers, including Congresswoman Becca Balint, Secretary of State Sarah Copeland-Hanzas, and State Treasurer Mike Pichek. We're only a week away. There's only 300 spots. We are capped, and we're over 200 registrants already. So if you were planning to attend or even thinking about it, today is the day to register. Check out the link in the email. Register today and join us next week, Saturday, April 11th, for the Changemakers Summit. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thanks.